I had absolutely zero intentions of talking about DaVante Adams amidst these trade rumors and potentially trying to get out of the Las Vegas Raiders organization and go somewhere else. Because why would I? There's, in my opinion, zero chance that he would end up on the San Francisco 49ers after they just paid Brandon Ayuk the big deal that they paid him. But yet, here we are. The only reason why I'm talking about this at all on this channel is because Ian Rapoport just linked DaVante Adams to the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to let you take a listen to what he has to say, and then I have some thoughts. Take a listen right here.
But what we know about DaVante Adams right now is he is told, as you and Mike told us yesterday, that he would prefer a trade someplace else. The Raiders have engaged in trade calls with several different teams. I haven't gotten the sense that we are coming to a head immediately, like before this show ends, so that'd be great. Let's get this one off the docket. But certainly all signs still point toward this being a realistic possibility. DaVante Adams could be suiting up someplace else sooner than later.
Yeah, there are several factors, Tom, that are stacking up to stop this trade from happening this week. Like, if the trade happens, obviously there are scenarios where DaVante Adams walks back into the Raiders' office and says, you know what, this team is good. I want to be a part of it. I want to keep going here. But for the foreseeable future, until that changes, we are going to go forward with DaVante Adams wanting to be traded. And yes, I don't believe it is going to happen this week. First of all, he's not healthy. He is still nursing hamstring injury that, as we've talked about, obviously not going to play this week. Wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see the field again until the situation is at least resolved in some form or fashion, whether that's a trade, whether it's him getting back in the fold, or however. We know there are several teams interested. Obviously, a couple of his old quarterbacks are. We know that Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are for sure interested. They're one of the teams that called in the offseason. The New Orleans Saints in the past have called about potentially trading for DaVante. Last year, when everyone thought he was going to be traded, they're one of the teams as well. Pittsburgh Steelers have been in the market for a receiver. Wouldn't be surprised if they are in the mix. The Baltimore Ravens, always looking for a receiver. Would be a tighter cap fit, but certainly something they could make that work. 49ers have yet to activate Ricky Pearsall, their rookie. Would be another one to potentially consider. They are going to have a market. No. It sounds like the Raiders, Mike, are going to want a lot, and they should. DaVante Adams is a very, very good player suddenly available in the middle of the season.
To me, this is like a classic situation that we have seen played out for years. For whatever reason, when a player is going to get traded, a big name hits the open market, they're always linked to the 49ers. I've been doing this a long time. They're always linked to the 49ers in some instances. I don't know if it's because it is a way to potentially drum up leverage or what have you. But there are multiple reasons why, to me, this is like, I don't even know why Ian Rapoport would do that. But here we are. We're talking about it because, and so I'm going to tell you why I don't think this is going to happen and why I haven't even spoke on this channel is because it's a non-starter. DaVante Adams, he's injured right now. He has a hamstring injury. Not only that, he plays for the Raiders. If you don't remember, the 49ers tried to trade for Khalil Mack at one point, and it didn't happen. They sent him to the Bears. The 49ers have famously said, John Lynch has said that their trade package was better, and the Raiders didn't want to send him to the 49ers, their crosstown rival. I don't think anything has changed there. I don't think Davis would send DaVante Adams to the San Francisco 49ers. I still think that applies. And even so, why would you go and get DaVante Adams? The 49ers, are already struggling to find enough targets to get Brandon Ayuk, their new $30 million a year wide receiver. Jawan Jennings has absolutely ascended. Deebo Samuel's back. Kittle's back. Yes, in Madden, fantastic. I would love that. But this isn't Madden. This is real life. So I don't see a world that exists where it's even plausible. That's why I haven't spoke on it. That's why I haven't talked about it. I've just been kind of sitting back, like, why are we talking about DaVante Adams in, the 49ers community? I get it. As someone who's been in the community a long time, whenever big names pop up, they're always going to be linked. Fans are going to, I know, I can see the comments piling up. Oh, trade Brandon Ayuk for DaVante Adams. But again, how much money have you paid up front to Brandon Ayuk? How many millions of dollars would it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense financially. It doesn't make sense logistically. It doesn't make sense from a roster building standpoint. It doesn't make sense on almost every level. Yes, having as many stars on your offense as possible is great. But in the reality of the situation and in the reality of, you know, of how you build a roster, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, it would be a different story if the 49ers suffered a season-long injury to one of their wide receivers, knock on wood, but that hasn't happened. And so I just don't I'm really surprised that Ian Rapoport would even mention the San Francisco 49ers. I wonder if it's because the 49ers, we know they had reached out to about Jacoby Myers in the offseason to try to get him. I believe it was a 7th-round pick. It was reported, but I'm sure they tapped in and tried to see and gauge interest on DaVante Adams. And I'm assuming at that point they were told they're not going to trade DaVante Adams. They tried to trade for Jacoby Myers, were unsuccessful. So I don't know. I believe it's a completely non-starter to have this tie-in between DaVante Adams and the San Francisco 49ers. That's why I'm honestly a little annoyed that I have to make this video. You know, we had a lot of this in the offseason, and I think, you know, in trying to track the story, we were able to identify early on that there were some things going on behind the scenes. It started with the Jaguars, right? Remember all that smoke of, you know, oh, Brandon Ayuk's communicating, agencies communicating with the Jags, and they're working out potential compensation and a trade. And at the time, it was laughed off as conspiracy. But I'm sure as you've seen how the offseason has played out, that was very real. And it was real all throughout. They talked about trades prior to the draft. They then shut that down. And then when Brandon Ayuk asked for the trade request, it popped back up. So we've gone through this situation, and that's why I had zero intent of even mentioning his name on this channel. But here we are, Ian Rapoport linking the San Francisco 49ers to DaVante Adams as either a team who has reached out or a team that DaVante would want to play for. Again, my interpretation is because it is a non-starter, that this is just a leverage thing, right? Like, obviously, I already explained that a little bit earlier. So I just look at this as a situation that's more annoying than anything else. Like, I don't want to talk about DaVante Adams. Why are we talking about DaVante Adams? I'm sure a lot of the comments are like, yeah, trade Brandon Ayuk for DaVante Adams in Madden. That it's more plausible than in reality. You just have to think about the money that the 49ers have paid. Remember, he got a lot of guaranteed money up front. I believe, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I might be misspeaking, but I think he gets upwards of over $70 million guaranteed in the first year. So if you're trading Brandon Ayuk, you're just paying him $70+ million to go away. And that, to me, is, again, why it won't be a BA for DaVante Adams trade. And then if you're asking, well, can we get DaVante Adams for a second-round draft pick and maybe kick someone else back? It still doesn't make sense to me because you don't have, like, yes, the 49ers offense has evolved into a little bit more pass-heavy this year. But still, you got Juwan Jennings, who's having a phenomenal year, is 4th in the NFL in receiving. You have Brandon Ayuk, who I think is ascending back into kind of normalcy for himself. Deebo Samuel's back. Ricky Pearsall, you have a first-round draft pick waiting in the wings. It doesn't make sense to me. And I apologize for having you have to sit through this video and make this video. I really do, because I remember we were all there this offseason. You guys got really upset with me for kind of tracking this story along the way because, you know, as you guys told me, there was no possibility that Brandon was going to get traded and all those things. And I understand from your perspective, but we lived that together. And as a result of living that together, I didn't feel it was even necessary to have to bring this up because to me it's a complete non-starter. But apparently I now have to make a video because Ian links him And I now have to tell you why I believe it's a non-starter. So, again, yeah. So here's the video of why the 49ers will not be trading for DaVante Adams, even though they've been linked. Feel free to yell at me in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.